I'm sure some of you have heard of my recent game called the Battle of Idumea. I do plan to keep working on that, but at this time, I have something that I think is a lot better. Sometime last year, I bought a game that I played back in elementary school. Many other kids and I absolutely enjoyed that game, and it was very fun and unlike any other computer game that I ever played or heard of at the time. Mostly because I was 6 and other games that I enjoy now either weren't out or I was too young to play them. The graphics are great for a 2005 game though, and it has a great story. It also teaches you how to multiply in a very fun and educating way. This is the kind of game that we need for all of our school subjects. I think kids will learn much better and it'll help improve the garbage education system that we have right now. The name of the game that we played back then is called Times Attack. In this game, you run around as a green alien trying to escape the dungeon of ignorance. The way you do so is by solving multiplication problems. Unfortunately, the game isn't available to download from the website of the creators, Imagine Learning or Big Brains, so I had to buy a copy from some Goodwill on Amazon. The version of the game that I have is much older. I think it was one of the first ones. On the start page it says it was from 2005, and I think it was like version 1. Either 0.15 or 1 point something, I don't remember. But it was a very early version of the game. So it was before they added the female alien, and with that they added the character selection menu. And whenever you would highlight over the or whenever you put your mouse over the green alien, you would say, "Alright." That was a sound that I thought was pretty funny as a kid. So I don't get to hear that since I have one of the much older versions. So the game that I'm working on is called Biblez Study, with a Z at the end of Bibles. This is just a working title, and it'll definitely change in the future. It's heavily inspired by Times Attack, though, and I hope that Imagine Inc. or Big Brains won't sue me. Because the game it's going to be similar. It has a similar concept to it, but it's not going to be the exact same. I'm going to create all the assets on my own, either on Blender or GIMP, or I'm going to find them somewhere on a website that's free and that has a copyright license that'll let me do so. So the main goal of the game is to teach the Word of God in a way that's biased only to the Bible, and it's not bound by any denomination or any religion. Each question will have biblical references from the ESV at first, and then I eventually plan to add the option to change the version to other translations such as the King James, NIV, or NASV. I won't be using any false copies though, like the Young's literal translation that teaches people that hell isn't a real place. Another goal of the game is to instill a strong biblical foundation into young kids and to teach them why we believe what we believe. Unfortunately, parents aren't doing this, and neither are some churches. One of the biggest problems today is that we live in a godless society that cares more about the false and spiritless teachings of man more than the teachings of the one who created them referring to the people. Some of the larger churches focus more on getting members and entertaining those members rather than teaching them about the Bible, and some places just care about the money. Another issue is that people want to listen to what they want to hear more than what they need to hear. That's why we see a more public acceptance of sin. The point of this game is to prevent kids from being poisoned by the world and the things in it, and maybe for adults and bigger kids to learn something too. I think this would be a great way to build a biblical foundation for anyone who's either new to Christianity or someone who wants to strengthen their faith a little bit. Some of the levels will be about apologetics, and then some of the other questions within the whole game will require a little bit of searching for to complete. This way, whoever does this can learn how to find their answers rather than just having the answers handed to them. If you don't know what apologetics are, it's the defense of Christianity against all the false objections people came up with over the years. For example, if someone said that Jesus wasn't real, you could show them, firstly, the non-Christian sources that either spoke about him or believe that he existed, whether it was just as a prophet or a great miracle worker that was not the Son of God. And secondly, the fact that the letters from the apostles alone have many more copies than the works of other authors of that time, such as Plato. In 1 Peter 3:15, we're actually told to be ready to give a logical defense against anyone who asks about our faith. Because of that, I might try to make apologetics a heavy focus in this game. And if it's not in this game, it'll definitely be in a future project, Lord willing. I hope to bring this project all the way through development, no matter how long it takes. I'll probably release the first build when the first level is finished, and that'll be available on the itch.io page if the Radioactive Pancakes website isn't made by then. I'd like it to be made by then, but it's just me working right now, and I already have a lot of stuff on my hands. I have to make all the levels, make questions. I got a little bit of code to write and make some music for it. And then on top of that, I have a full-time job, and I also like to make music outside of that. The code stuff shouldn't be very hard because I only need to program the behavior for the enemy, and then the player, maybe a few other things. Definitely the interactions with the player and the environment. Then I'll also need to figure out how to add saving and loading to the game as well. That's something I've struggled with, and I think I'll use the game manager and have it save what level you have unlocked, like the number of it, to a file, and then whenever you press play, your save file will load, and it'll load the scene number that you were last on. I'll try to get it to save at the checkpoint, but it'll be after the checkpoint after you complete something, but that may take a little more time. With the rise in student technology like personal iPads, laptops, and other devices, I think this would be a great game to make. For a while, it'll only be available for Windows and Linux via Wine, and after that, I'll try to port it to Mac and make a better port for Linux. Because with Wine, you can actually play it on Linux. I don't know if Mac has a system that lets you play Windows games, but if it does, then the same applies to that. And then after the team grows a bit, I'll try to get people who can make a port for Android, and we'll hopefully be able to make a version for iPhones after getting the money to do so, because Apple requires you to pay $99 a year or something like that, which isn't a whole lot. And the game will be completely free, but will accept donations as soon as I file Radioactive Pancakes as an official business and get all the tax stuff set up. If anyone would like to submit any questions and answers, you can do so on the itch.io page. I'll create an article for that, and I'll try to put those questions and answers you have in the game as long as they're relevant to the Bible and the topics that'll be discussed in the game. The post will include the rules for the questions and answers, so that way you know exactly what to ask and how to ask it. And I'll try to group it with similar questions to make it more efficient and organized. I think that'll be about it for this video, though. I don't want it to drag on any longer. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoy your pancakes and have a blessed night.